The FIA has announced that they have delayed their verdict on whether or not Red Bull went over the budget last year. For the past 2 weeks, there has been a lot of speculation and wild accusations being thrown around like confetti. So what is all the fuss about? Well, hello and welcome to Fervent Motorsports. Today I'm going to quickly run you through the budget cap drama. But first, gentlemen, a short view back to the past. As you probably know, Formula 1 is a pretty expensive sport. There's money being spent on traveling the world, building a fast car, fixing a crashed car, and even on hiring strategy engineers. Now that's all cool until you realize that some teams have deeper pockets than others. A prime example of this is Mercedes. In 2019 and 2020, they spent close to $1 billion to win the championships. Of course they won it. It would be a shame if they didn't after spending almost $1 billion. Now the FIA realized that teams buying their way to a championship was bad for the sport. There was no competition for the rich teams and it got a bit boring according to the fans. So they needed to level the playing field. And they introduced a budget cap. A budget cap of 145 million. And that's like 1/3 of what Mercedes spent in order to win the championships in 2019. Last year, 2021, was the first year that the budget cap was in effect. Now keep in mind that driver salaries and some marketing activities aren't really counted in this budget. Teams submit their cost sheets to the FIA at the end of the season, and the FIA has a bunch of people who take about 6 months to scrutinize every penny spent. If a team has respected the budget, they get something called a certificate of compliance. This states that the team has respected the FIA and has not been up to some shady business. Now, it's almost 6 months since the team submitted their accounts, and the FIA are still going through it. However, and this is an important part, the FIA has not yet released any findings. But there are rumours that Red Bull and Aston Martin have gone over the budget. Now, I sort of understand Red Bull. Max Verstappen won the World Championship, so it's obvious that Red Bull was working pretty hard. But this is a picture of the Aston Martin car. How they went over budget is something that only Sherlock Holmes can solve. But coming back to Red Bull, there was a ton of press-related questions about the team and if it would affect the championship that they won last year. But team boss Christian Horner said, "There's an awful lot of rumours and gossip, and we know where most of that permeates from." Yeah, he's definitely talking about Toto Wolff. The possible penalties for going over the cost cap are pretty harsh. So you have minor sporting penalties and you have a major sporting penalty. This all depends on the amount by which you cross the budget. Looking at the situation and the penalties, it's fair to believe that Red Bull could be in serious trouble. But one of the most important details to remember is that the FIA hasn't said anything yet. There's no official statement about Red Bull breaking the budget cap. As a journalist, there are things you have to keep in mind, and one of them is that Red Bull are innocent until the FIA proves them guilty. Starting a petition or mobbing them with mean tweets on Twitter won't change anything. It'll just lower your dignity as an individual. In short, this is like a high school drama. The Netflix cameramen are probably working overtime to make the story more dramatic than a Saas Bahu show. And team bosses are ganging up against Red Bull because of reasons? There's a lot of childish back and forth going on. Toto Wolff said that he had to make 40 staff members redundant because of the budget cap. And Christian Horner decided to double it, and he said that Red Bull laid off more people. A bit childish if you ask me. So we wait until next week when the FIA does reveal their actual findings and not just some random conversations between two people with no proof. So thank you for watching this video by us here at Fervent Motorsports. If you do like it, remember to subscribe and stay tuned as we get you guys the best of motorsport news.